What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today I want to talk about the Colts roster. They came out with their first depth chart, and going through the roster, I just want to look at who do we think is going to make the 53-man roster. And with the emergency quarterback and that whole situation, I had to go through and figure out where are we going to have the extra guy, right? You can have the three quarterbacks, but the third quarterback doesn't have to count towards somebody on the roster. He's the emergency quarterback. On Sunday, he doesn't count toward the 53-man roster. So I'm just thinking, where's that extra position going to be? And I think I found the answer of what the Colts could end up doing and what I think would be smart for them to do. And just taking what we've seen from training camp so far and trying to figure out, okay, which one of these guys is going to be the one that we're saying, okay, put him on the active roster on Sundays for us, make him part of our rotation. That's really what we're talking about, right? If you're looking at the bottom of the roster, he's going to be the 53rd guy, then yeah, you're going to assume that we're talking about rotational pieces, but and like special teams guys, but like those guys, you're only as good as the 53rd person on your roster, right? Which, and people are going to say, oh, well, Patrick Mahomes, that's all the Chiefs need, blah blah blah. I get it. The Chiefs are still a really good football team, have really good coaches over there. That's their own situation. For our situation, as we look ahead, this is the way that I see things breaking down. Okay. Like I mentioned, Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco, and then Sam Ellinger. Whether it's Sam Ellinger, Keaton Slovis, Jason Bean, I assume it's probably going to be Sam Ellinger. One of those guys got to end up being the emergency quarterback, and in that instance, they wouldn't count towards it. So have two quarterbacks that are going to count towards roster spots, and then the emergency quarterback. Okay, and I'll switch this over so that you guys can see what I'm looking at here. And as we're looking forward, now we're looking at running backs, right? We have, again, the two quarterbacks plus the emergency quarterback, so two roster spots. Then we're going to go ahead and take four running backs. Jonathan Taylor, Trey Sermon, Tyler Goodson, and Evan Hull. Those guys are going to be the active roster running backs. Trent Penix is tight end turned running back. And then Xavier Scott, which is kind of a fan favorite. So we'll see those two possibly ending up on the practice squad. We'll talk about practice squad in another video. But for the purposes of this, the 53-man roster currently sitting at 6 players. Then we move up a little bit here. Let's go ahead and look at these wide receivers. The wide receivers that I have on the active roster, and I feel like wide receivers kind of clear cut right now. Alec Pierce, A.D. Mitchell, those two are going to be making it. Josh Downs, Anthony Gould, those guys are going to be on the team. Michael Pittman Jr., Ashton Dulin, those guys are making it. So I have us taking 6 wide receivers each and every week. I think this is going to be an every week. We got to have those 6 in the game, those 6 available for us. The depth that we have at wide receiver all of a sudden kind of incredible when you compare it to other teams. I think we're doing really well from a receiver standpoint, which is great. And then you look at tight ends. I think there's a good chance we take 5, which are going to be Mo Alley-Cox, Drew Ogletree, Kylan Granson, Jelani Woods, and Will Mallory. Those are the 5 guys that I expect to be taken into each and every week. Maybe they want to have more offensive linemen and one less, so maybe Will Mallory or Drew. I don't know who they would even put on the practice squad of those 5 guys. Like, they all make plays in game. They've all made plays in practice, but nobody really separates themselves as a elite threat. So we'll see what happens with tight end. But again, I think we take 5 there. And then looking at the offensive linemen, Bernard Raymond and Blake Freeland going to be the 2 left tackles we take. Right tackle, Braden Smith, Mackin Savez. Arlington Hambright was on and off the roster last year. Could end up on the practice squad. Could end up just being released. Will Fries, of course, Ryan Kelly, Quinn Nelson. Those 3 going to be making it our starters, of course. And then I think Tanner Bortolini is going to be a guy that ends up making the team. And then I think Danny Pinter is somebody that is going to be able to make the team. That versatility on the inside, right? You end up with 4 tackles. You end up with 3 guys who can play center. You have 2 backup guys that can play on the interior if you need to. So I think that is the way that the Colts could go. So this should be 25, right? We have 2 quarterbacks, the 4 running backs. So there's 6. 6 wide receivers is 12. Plus 5 is 17 for the tight ends. And then the 5 starters on the offensive line takes us up to 22. And then after that, you have Tanner Bortolini, Danny Pinter, Blake Freeland, and Mac and Savage, which comes out to 26. So I think what I was doing before, Danny Pinter's a wild card. Okay. If we go with 25 on the offense, it'll be Tanner Bortolini, in my opinion. Just because he's cheaper, right? He's a rookie. He's cheaper. Danny Pinter, coming off an injury, he's a veteran player and seemingly costs more money. If they did want to open up any money for some reason, or they just need to cut bait, they're going to go with the guy that they drafted and possibly put Danny Pinter. Maybe he just ends up on the practice squad. I'm not saying cut, but ends up on the practice squad, especially, again, coming off that injury. Just having him on the practice squad to get into football shape, probably the idea there. So running with 25, Danny Pinter is the odd man out on the offense. Okay, then when you look at the defense, that's where we end up taking the extra man. Okay, we have Kwity Paye and Latu. Those 2 are going. DeForest Buckner, Tommy Ade. Those 2 probably going. Grover Stewart, Raekwon Davis when he comes back. So you have 4 interior, and then Dio and Taekwon are going to make up the last of the rotation at 8 on the defensive line. Okay, and obviously Taekwon, Dio, those 2 guys can play on the inside as well. They have that kind of versatility. So that's what we're looking at with the defensive line, taking 8 of those guys. Then EJ Speed, Jalen Carlisle, they make 10. Zaire Franklin, 11. Segan Alubi, Grant Stewart make 13. Then when you start looking forward, Juju Brent-Styles Flowers is 15. Nick Cross, Rodney Thomas is 17. Julian Blackman, Ronnie Harrison Jr. Makes 19. Trevor Denbo will make 20. Then, of course, you have Kenny Moore, 21. Chris Lamons, 22. Jalen Jones, 23. Darrell Baker Jr., 24. Now, that's 49 players. Then you got to take into account punter, kicker. Okay, that takes us to 51. There are 2 more that we can take. And the question is, who is it going to be? Okay, and the guys that I'm sitting here considering are Jalen Simpson, Micah Abraham, Craig Young, and Isaiah Land. I think there's an avenue where Taven Bryan or Eric Johnson ends up being one of those guys, but in my opinion, I really think it's going to be one of the others. So for 52, we're going to take Isaiah Land. Defensive end, going in with defensive end depth. We know they want to have a rotation, and with Samson Ebby come out, they're going to have even more of a rotation this year, taking 9 guys, and they have the availability to do that because of the emergency quarterback rule. And I think the last guy that they're going to take is probably going to be Jalen Simpson. You look at the secondary and the depth on the secondary. Scrolls down for you. You have Jalen Simpson down here, and I think he can make it because I've seen people say that he's made some plays, right? Both rookie Jalen's have made plays in practice, Carlisle and Simpson. So I think when it comes down to it, if you need depth at a skill position, right, we have the depth on offense. You're taking 6 of those guys, 6 of the wide receivers. Then when you look at corners, you take, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 corners. So you have that depth. You have different guys with different skill sets. With the injuries to the guys on the outside last year, it would make sense to take an outside guy. I wanted to say Micah Abraham. I just don't know if he seems like a perfect practice squad guy, somebody that probably isn't going to see playing time this year, but that I think can be good for us in the future. Is just, Kenny Moore is going to hopefully be here until he retires. Who knows how long that's going to be. So we'll see if Mike Abraham actually does anything for us ever. But again, because we have Kenny Moore, don't really need to bring up too many nickel corners. Now, unless he has special teams capabilities, right? And that's where Amir Speed comes in. Somebody that was here last year, somebody that could have more potential, or maybe the coaches look at him differently because he was here last year. He's been in the league for a few years, right? I think, was it Chiefs before he came to us? I believe it was. So, somebody that knows our system, somebody that if he has to step in on defense, can step in on defense, but probably has a pretty heavy special teams role. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Again, going Jalen Simpson, wouldn't be surprised if it was Ameer Speed, but those are the 53, including the punter and the kicker. Again, 25 on offense, the two specialists, 27, which leaves 26 for the defense. Okay, we put the extra guy on the defense with the emergency quarterback rule happening, taking in 9 defensive linemen, taking in 7 people in the secondary. So I think right now that's my current projection. I don't have any inside information. I'm looking at the depth chart. I'm taking information from training camp and putting all the information together in my own head to try to figure out and try to think what are we going to do coming up in the season? What can we expect? And so far, that's what I expect. Again, we'll talk about practice squad, roster bubble. We'll put those kind of in the same video because one is on the one goes with the other, right? No reason to have separate videos on something that's basically the same thing. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to be talking about more rookies coming up and what we should expect from some of the rookies. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We're also going to have training camp updates. We'll be doing a live stream today whenever I get home from my day job and talking about training camp practice. So again, subscribe, have those notifications turned on so you get notified anytime videos drops or anytime we go live on the channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.